So this week's episode of Dr. Stone, the Stone Wars have officially begun. I mentioned it last week. I wasn't really worried. I was more excited than anything after seeing everything that just transpired. It was like, you know what? Bring it on, Tsukasa. Let's see what's gonna happen here. I mean, I was pretty excited, and then immediately as the episode kicked off, I realized I was like, oh shit, man, this guy probably has a lot of military might coming his way. Like, this isn't gonna be good. And I have to say, the just overall satisfying payoff that this series week by week delivers is continuing to just blow me away because of just simple little diversions like making people think you have firearms and things like that, but they frame it and just, direct it in such a way that it feels like one of the coolest things we've ever seen. It almost feels as if the anime directs it in a way to make it feel like we are these like cavemen, right? We've never seen technology, so when you see gunpowder go off and you throw a rock to make it look like it was a bullet and you actually have firearms, it's like, what the hell is that? We have no idea what that is, but let's get the hell out of here. It was just really fun to see how the pieces were falling into place, because again, he's not an idiot, and nor is Tsukasa. Like, Tsukasa was either going to trail him and figure out, oh shit, yeah, he was lying to me all along, or he's going to just assume that, hey, if I have these people here, they're probably going to discover this village. Like, it's going to be pretty hard to, not notice the other civilization in this world. Naturally, if you haven't found a body, he's probably going to go to this location, and, we don't want that, so let's just go invade them, take who we can, and kill the rest. So it's like, there was no way that Tsukasa was just going to take Gen's word and say, yeah, okay, I guess he's dead, and let's just leave this other village that clearly I have knowledge on, let them be. No. So it was quite interesting to see how Gen was kind of playing both sides, but really he was always on Senku's side, but he had to kind of make it seem like he was still on Tsukasa's side when bad things did happen, because, I mean, it's interesting how the ambush happened, because, we're setting it up, it's not too worrisome. It's like, yeah, we know they're coming, but at the end of the day, we can probably take them. But then you see Genro and Kenro, they're on the bridge, you're telling one to retreat, and you're going to hold them off by yourself, and you're doing okay, and then it's just all hope is really going lost once you see this new character who just is really cool, not only just with his character design, but he actually has a weapon that is all based on rotational spinning, so the blade is hard to predict where it's going to be, meaning you just get absolutely annihilated. It's like, oh god, cut the bridge with me on it, sacrifice, and you're getting this emotional turmoil because none of these characters are going to be willing at this point in time to sacrifice one of their own. In the future, maybe, but it's like, you can't really kill a fan favorite like this, right? And I was just, you kind of felt a variety of things. Like, you start the episode off, you feel, I guess it's worrisome, then it's like, oh god, this is actually a bad thing, and then you start saying, you know what? We got this, we'll hold them off, Senku will come up with some diversion or tactic, and then it feels like we're actually going to lose someone, and then the relief of being like, thank God. And I really do like how Gen isn't just someone who just like immediately switched sides and revealed his cards, because this is the mentalist, right? He should be able to play both sides until the very end, until he absolutely can't anymore. So to him being like, oh god, flee, he has firearms, and kind of like playing both sides in that way, so then eventually Senku could give him a blade that would then in result harm the weapon that would ultimately probably end most of their life. It's just like, there's all these little pieces at play in this episode, and that's what makes Dr. Stone, honestly, so amazing. Is that rather like a lot of anime where it just has like one core idea, and then it runs with it, it sets it up throughout the episode, delivers the punchline, calls it an episode, and then we wait for the next week. With Dr. Stone, it's like there's these little pieces kind of building up that you don't immediately recognize, but by the time they happen, you're like, that's really cool. The whole idea was really focusing on this weapon that was going to cause them a lot of harm, and kind of preparing and, diversions and things like that, but ultimately you had to take care of that weapon, because even if you give our character glasses or you give them katanas, right, there's probably going to be a lot of things you're going to have a hard time with, so you need to take care of it before it's a major issue. Like, Gen was clearly on Senku's side, but I was going to be quite interested to see how long he was able to play both sides, because I didn't think they were going to be able to deal with this situation right here. I thought maybe they would be able to push him back and then they'd have to fight him some other time. I wasn't actually expecting his weapon to be able to be broke because of a little sabotage, because both characters understood one another at a good enough mental level. Dr. Stone is just absolutely fantastic for the sole reason that it continues to find new ways to make technology and just the progression of civilization continue to just excite you and just blow you away. Because yeah, they weren't going to be able to make actual guns, but what could they make that would give them an edge against such brute strength? Well, make them better weapons, because if your blades won't break, but your blades can actually break theirs, even if they have more strength, I mean, you probably could win that battle. That's what's really cool about this series, is that even though they can't, just jumpstart to, machine guns or things like that, they can do things that will give them an edge. But now that the cards are laid on the table, Tsukasa, he's going to attack hard. Like, he's not just going to send a little squad to go take care of it, maybe see what's going on. He'll probably come himself. And who knows what's going to happen, because this is a very intense situation, because now they have a lot of preparation. They got a village, they have, materials and technology. They've spent a lot of time building what they have. They were in a matter of days able to build katanas, right? So that's really cool, but should the village get destroyed, should some of his equipment get destroyed, that's going to be months to make the next thing. So there is a lot of things that they have to now keep in the back of their minds. If they do confront them again, you want to make sure that it's not within the village, it's in the forest or something. But if you're doing it in the forest, then you're going to have to make sure that you're prepared in that area. There is a lot of things that could honestly happen where it could go very right for Senku, and it could also go very wrong. Not only just with characters dying, but all of his progress going completely down the drain. I mean, it still had its funny moments, don't get me wrong, but there was a lot of moments where you were sweating. You were feeling like, are characters dying? Are we going to lose the village after just getting it? What is going to happen? But then they remind you that Senku and the rest, they usually have a plan, and if they don't, they make you believe they do, with the smirks and grins and how they can bluff their way to absolute success. Probably one of my favorite moments in this episode is after some pretty intense stab wounds and feeling like people were dying, Senku just sticks a funnel in the guy's mouth and then just starts slapping him with some dust and being like, you'll be fine by tomorrow. It's you gotta have that, right? I mean, after the tense crying and just, holy shit, we almost lost a fan favorite, and then just Senku ropes us right back in being like, bitch, we ain't done just yet. I love that. I love how Dr. Stone just finds this way to balance that serious and comedic, and it's not too serious all the time. Yeah, we've had heavy episodes as of late, but probably say majority of the time it's pretty comfy and pretty fun, but there is just enough dramatic and serious to make you sweat and make you feel like you just want to follow this anime character. You don't even want to think for yourself. You want to believe in whatever the hell Senku says, because you have no answer to the solution at hand. What is going to happen here? Who knows? Let's just believe in this kid because somehow he can do it all. You're definitely getting a taste that the cast is going to really spiral out of control in the best possible way because of their new village chief. I mean, you're already getting characters like Magma, who he wants to be village chief, but he's now working more cooperatively with everyone else because, yeah, he has to prove his own strength, but you're already getting a glimpse that now you have a proper leader, no longer fighting and headbutting who should lead. It almost feels like this village, if they were doing well as it was, they're going to do fantastic now that they have a proper leader who understands science and how to bring people together, because this man probably half the time doesn't know what he's doing. He's really just faking it until he makes it, because he's in the Stone Age. He has a lot of intelligence, but he's never done this before, right? But he makes people believe that he knows what he's doing, and that's why characters, after wanting to kill him, probably are be like, well, I guess I can accept orders for now, but I'll be a little bit of a tsundere and say I want to be village chief myself, but probably over time we'll just come to accept him as his leader, as his boss, and maybe even as a friend. That's what's really cool about this current setup of Dr. Stone, is that it's been fantastic to watch the technological progression. It's been fun to see, can he worm his way into the civilization? But now that we have that, we're now right into, tribe territories where it's going to be clan versus clan, and will might beat the technology, or can they make the technology fast enough, or will they just steal the weapons that they make? There's a lot of ways that this can go, and I had a lot of fun watching this episode. Thought after last week and the week before, I was like, okay, maybe we won't have too many tearjerker, stab you in the heart moments, but man, just dangling off a bridge and just the crying from some of the characters, it got to you. I mean, I did have more expectations that he was going to live than not, but still, I was like, anything can happen at this point in Dr. Stone, and they might have to cut that bridge, and I'm glad they didn't, but I do feel like at some point that bridge will have to be cut, and hopefully not a fan favorite is going to be dangling off there for his own life. You're getting at least a glimpse at some of the other characters that have been either revived or maybe have been discovered, and Tsukasa has roped them in because he has brute strength, and the character designs for the show was just completely fantastic because it has a mixture of modern and just old school caveman. They don't have fancy wardrobes for sure, but it is nice to see how in this time period, you can really just make whatever style you want, and you're probably going to look badass in comparison to anyone else, even though you probably look like a clown in comparison to like modern day. But it's like, you just see these wacky wardrobes and you're like, man, this guy's a boss just because everyone else looks pretty plain and boring, even though you wouldn't want to wear something like that walking down the street in modern civilization. Dr. Stone is just absolutely fantastic. Getting a little sad to realize that, we don't have too much more time left with this season, but it does feel good that, every time we start entering into a new arc, it feels like we're getting into an even more intriguing storyline. So even though the season may be coming to a close sooner rather than later, it does feel like we're getting into the best content, so it's not totally a bad thing. But overall, this was a fantastic episode. I don't know where next week's gonna go because, Tsukasa, I feel like he would want to prepare, but at the same time, I feel like he would just want to launch a giant boulder at their home. So it's like, next week, it's gonna be interesting. We could go back to peaceful, or we just absolute stone wars. But for anyone who has any thoughts on this episode or where you think it might go next week, let me know down in the comment section below. And if you did enjoy this video, be sure to drop a like and also hit that subscribe button if you have any news. So until next time, everyone, please take care and have a good one.